Hey, New Hope family, it's Pastor Matt with your devotional thought for today. In Proverbs chapter 4, King Solomon writes, "Do not enter the path of the wicked, and do not walk in the way of evil. Avoid it, do not go on it. Turn away from it and pass on. But the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, which shines brighter and brighter until full day. The way of the wicked is like deep darkness. They do not know over what they stumble." I've been thinking a lot since Sunday's sermon about the idea of the light of Christ and the darkness in which we all walk apart from Him. And obviously in the book of Proverbs, King Solomon's writing of that very reality, especially when he talks about avoiding the way of the wicked. For what reason? Well, the way of the wicked leads to not only evil actions, but ultimately you stumble around in the darkness. You're going to continue to falter. You're going to continue to fall short. So don't go in that path, but instead go in the path of righteousness, because the path of righteousness is illuminated. How is that illuminated? Well, it's illuminated by God Himself, by Jesus. Jesus, who is the light of the world. And as He promised to us in the Gospel of John, as we looked at on Sunday, if we believe in Him, we have the light of life. If we follow Him, we have the light of life. We won't walk in the darkness, but we'll instead walk in the light of life. Not only will we walk in it, but we will have it, as I said in the sermon on Sunday. But this proverb is really helpful because it gives us that same indicator. And I think that imagery is so helpful for us to think about walking in darkness. I can think of specific instances in my life where I've neglected to turn on a light, or it was at night and I thought I'd be able to make my way around, but it was too dark and I ultimately tripped over a hazard that was in my way. One instance in particular, I remember thinking, I'm going into this closet. It happened to be what was called the lighting closet at a previous church. I needed to grab something off of the rack that we were going to use in the lights in the sanctuary. And I didn't want to, my hands had something in the one hand and I couldn't easily get to the switch. So I was like, I know where I'm going. I walked right for what I needed, knowing that there were some lights on the ground. They weren't all up in the racks. But I thought, no, I can navigate my way. And I went to grab a fixture and I completely caught my toes on a light that I didn't realize was in my path. Kind of ironic that I tripped over a light fixture, but it wasn't turned on, so it was all darkness. And I can think of many situations where I have tripped over over obstacles because I was in the dark. I didn't bother to turn on the light in different situations. And that's the same thing for us. We have the light of Christ in our lives, and if we walk in His ways, if we follow Him in paths of righteousness, He will illuminate things in ways that we will see the obstacles that lie before us, both physical obstacles and spiritual obstacles. We'll have the light of life illuminating the hindrances in our hearts that keep us from walking in purity, that keep us from walking in a manner worthy of His calling, which is, again, walking in humility with Him, walking in accordance with His ways. So instead of us pursuing darkness, instead of us walking in stumbling in the darkness in that way, we can walk in the light of Christ by pursuing Him and His kingdom and His righteousness first and foremost. And then we won't be so easily entangled by the things that tangle us up in the dark, because we will see them and we'll be able to address them in the power of the Holy Spirit who indwells us.